The best type of exercise to do is the one that you like the most. Have you ever heard that advice before? Well, it's true that if you like what you're doing, you're going to be more consistent, and that's hugely important for physical fitness. But there is one problem to consider, and that's that after age 30, physically inactive people can lose up to 3 to 5% of their muscle mass every decade. So whether you like it or not, strength training really needs to be part of your exercise routine. In today's quick tip episode, we're going to dive into what that means. Welcome to the Holy Well Journey podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Hodges. Join us for weekly faith-based conversations on holistic health to uncover practical tips for how to thrive and apply biblical wisdom to our busy modern lives. From fitness to food to fasting, we're here to discover what it means to have a healthy spirit, soul, and body. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. According to scientific research, from the age of 30, people can start losing muscle mass each decade, and that's a condition known as sarcopenia. So without resistance training or an active lifestyle, you could lose as much as 5% of your muscle mass every decade after age 30. And this rate could be even higher, up to 1% a year after the age of 40. At the age of 40, most people start to experience that it's more difficult to maintain muscle mass and even control your weight because you're experiencing more fluctuating hormones, insulin resistance, and you just naturally become less active. But strength training is about much more than just maintaining a lean and toned physique, although that's a bonus. But when you lose muscle mass and strength, you may start experiencing aches and pains, posture problems. Your metabolism slows down, which makes it harder to manage your weight. Everyday tasks become more challenging. You might find yourself becoming tired more easily, and your risk for injury increases because you need those strong muscles to support your joints and bones. Extremely important as we age. So that makes strength training truly essential. You got to learn to love it. So here's some positive news about strength training as you age, because we just talked about all of the negatives and some sad statistics about our rate of muscle loss as we age. But there's good news too. It's not inevitable that you'll grow weaker over time. There was a recent study in Human Kinetics journals that proved this. And in this study, there were two groups. One was 65 to 75-year-olds, and the second group was 85 years old and up. And both groups lifted weights 3 times a week for 12 weeks, so 3 months, and using weights set up to 80% of their max strength, and weights were adjusted along the way. So the group of exercisers who were age 85 and up added an average of 11% to their muscle mass and 46% to their strength. That's huge. And the 65 to 75 group also had gains. They gained 10% more muscle and 38% more strength. So overall, for both of these groups, in just 3 months of regular strength training, they improved strength and lean mass and improved their functional performance. And this is exciting news because it shows that it's never too late to start. And your lifestyle choices and habits can have a tremendous impact on your quality of life as you age. So hopefully now you're interested and you want to know more. But I do want to warn you to be careful when you Google information about strength training or you're scrolling through your social media looking for advice in this department, because there's 2 general groups that advice is targeted to. One is for just your general health and wellness, strength training for general fitness. But then you also have a lot of advice out there that's targeted to bodybuilders or fitness pros and athletes, or just people who are wanting to gain muscle mass. It's called hypertrophy, and it means increasing your muscular size and strength. So if you see advice that looks overwhelming to implement, like you're doing complicated splits and it's going to cause you to be in the gym lifting weights 5 to 6 days a week, that may be advice that's targeted more to, say, a 23-year-old male who wants to increase his muscle mass and size. But there's other types of advice that may be more towards older adults or middle age who are just looking to stay healthy and get toned and build muscle and just be generally healthy. So another thing to consider is, are you nervous about strength training? I find there are 3 reasons that people are often nervous about starting. One is because they don't feel comfortable going into a gym. They're just imagining like all these huge muscly guys with their gallon of water and their weight belts and all this serious lifting activity going on in the gym. And the second one is tied to that. They don't know what they're doing. And people might be nervous about strength training if they don't know what they're doing, just for looking silly or possibly hurting themselves or not doing things the right way. And then the third reason is people don't want to get bulky from lifting weights. Well, when it comes to that first point and feeling comfortable in the gym, remember everyone has to start somewhere. And you can work out with a personal trainer and ask for an orientation, and you'll truly find more often than not People who spend all their time in the gym love working out and they would love to give you advice, and they're happy to see you there and they're happy to see you start. But say you don't want to go in the gym in the beginning. You can always work out at home, and you can do lots of exercises with no equipment at all. Or for a very low price, you can purchase some simple items like exercise bands or dumbbells and do your workouts in the comfort of your own home. So as far as not knowing what to do, like we said, it's easy to hire a personal trainer or find somebody who can help show you around. Maybe it's a friend that works out a lot and you could have them show you what to do. And we're also going to link in the show notes to the ACE Exercise Library. And this is a great online resource with hundreds of exercises, and you can organize and filter it by body part or by experience and equipment and easily build your own exercise routine out of that. So finally, ladies and sometimes gentlemen are often concerned about getting too bulky and muscular if they lift weights, but this isn't something you need to worry about truly. First of all, for women, testosterone is a big factor in muscle growth, and women are producing only a small fraction of testosterone compared to men. So that's why your muscles are just never going to be as big. But in addition, there is no way that you're going to look like Popeye overnight. You might remember those cartoons where he would pop a can of spinach and then his muscles would just instantly bulge out. Well, in real life, it doesn't work that way. Building muscle is a very long and slow process, and it takes a lot of intentional effort. You have to lift a lot and eat a lot in order to build muscle. You're going to know it if you're doing it. And most importantly, we need to confront the bias that it's unattractive for women to have muscles. I mean, come on, really. So much of our body shape is determined by our genetics, and if a woman has strong muscles, more power to her. Remember the Proverbs 31 woman. In Proverbs 31:17, it says, "She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms." So how often should you do strength training? Well, if you're a beginner or if it's for general exercise purposes, the general advice is performing strength training exercises 2 to 3 times a week for all major muscle groups. And you can start with 12 to 15 repetitions and increase to 3 sets over time. But when you're starting, 1 set is enough to give you results. So if you don't have a lot of time, that's not an excuse, because it takes maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes where you can work every major muscle group in your body. Your weights should also be heavy enough to tire your muscles after 12 to 15 repetitions. Like if you get to 15 and you can keep going for 10 more, then those weights aren't heavy enough. But whenever you're increasing the weight, make sure you always do that gradually, stair step, 1 weight increase at a time so you're not hurting yourself. So when we say 2 to 3 times a week for all major muscle groups, that doesn't mean you necessarily are doing 2 to 3 workouts. You might do 4 workouts because you might do upper body 2 days a week and lower body 2 days a week. There's all kinds of ways that you can split. And you can get really more detailed and more complex in how you structure your strength training routine. We're not going to talk about that today. The important thing is just to get started and work every major muscle group in your body 2 times a week. Next, let's talk about what counts as strength training, because you might be imagining the bench press and the leg press and that typical gym equipment. But using weight machines is just one way to do strength training. You can also use free weights, dumbbells. You can do body weight exercises like push-ups and squats and lunges. You can use resistance bands, which are super great, especially if you're traveling, because they're very light and very small and you can easily pack them up. And you can also do plyometrics or calisthenics, which are jumping and explosive movements. So keep in mind that strength training doesn't have to be limited to the gym. You can incorporate strength-based activities in your daily routine. And when you're doing things like cleaning the house, carrying groceries, yard work, just look at that as a great opportunity to be building your strength and getting some more physical activity in. So just to reiterate as we close, strength training matters at every age. Strength training helps you build muscle and improve your overall strength, combat natural muscle loss as you age. Strength training also increases bone density, it improves your balance and coordination, it boosts your metabolism, and it reduces your risk of injury. Additionally, strength training can help improve your mental health by releasing endorphins as you exercise and reducing your stress level. Plus, it just makes you feel more confident. So let's remember, strength training isn't just about aesthetics or bulging muscles. It's about fostering overall health and functionality. It helps you lead an active and fulfilling life regardless of age and feeling good inside and out. So learn to love your weights, because you'll definitely love the result. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Holy Well Journey podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, and you can also head over to holywelljourney.com to check out the show notes and the whole podcast library. That's also where you'll find information about our health and wellness coaching, which you can participate in online from wherever you are in the world. Just a reminder and disclaimer that this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for medical advice or professional counseling. Please be sure to consult your doctor before making any changes to your diet or exercise plan or starting to fast. If you're interested in more information about fasting and spiritual disciplines, check out danielfastjourney.com. Thanks for joining us on this journey to becoming wholly well.